Yo, what up? Toshi here. I've come to terms that I am born a Hunt DPS main. I, for some reason, have two of Yang Jing's light codes on my account. I have no idea how this happened, but it happened and I am making it work. Now, Hunt DPSs have a very different playstyle from any other class in the game. And one of the things I wanted to mention is, well, it's something I really enjoy. And that's why I always bring up the playstyle discussion. Let me explain. We understand that the Hunt roster allows these characters to excel in single target DPS fights, meaning they will probably do the best in scenarios in which they're fighting bosses, not AoE settings. Well, Seal is probably the exception to the rule here, but every single other Hunt DPS excels at fighting one target. And part of that is kind of solidified with how some of the actual light cones for the Hunt class works, especially Su Sheng's 4-star light cone. This is a very powerful light cone at that. You get a 40% damage stacking buff, which is pretty huge. Now it does get higher with refinements, which makes it even better. But being able to stack damage whenever you attack the same target over and over again is going to allow your Hunt DPS to do more damage with doing what they were already previously doing, and that is fighting one single enemy. We also do understand that a lot of the light cones you do have for the 5-star options allows the Hunt user to get not only crit damage but crit rate, which allows them to get the stats they need in order to get those big one-hit nukes in. Now, we understand that Jing Yuan's light cone does allow him to get crit damage and all types of damage amplifications to his abilities and his kit, but he's also going to be the exception to the rule here. And I think that 5-star limited light cones have a lot of power for DPSs, and that's something for a different discussion. But why do I keep using Hunt DPS characters? I just find the way they play enjoyable. Being able to essentially have a character in which you funnel all of your resources into to be able to dish out the most damage possible with said character is something that my adrenaline junkie brain really, really enjoys. Now, I do understand that there is other classes in the game, and we made videos, countless videos on every single other class at this point. I think we have not talked about Preservation, but let's be honest, characters that shield aren't really that much enjoyable to talk about. Maybe March 7th is kind of cool with the fact that she has like a built-in counter, but other than that, it's not really that interesting. But the erudition allows you to deal tons of AoE damage in the settings in which you're fighting multiple enemies. I think that's going to be something that's very valuable long term. And I think people have already started to see more value into Himiko, in which a character that I'm really interested in following up with the release of Kafka, who we will also talk about in this video. QQ has had a lot of potential so far, being able to dish out tons of damage, especially if you have her Eidolons or Constellations, allows the character to excel in those AoE settings, even single target settings, and on top of that, be a very nice quantum DPS that doesn't really eat as much skill points as you think. And then you have characters like Serval, who has really shown how valuable she is for most free-to-play players. I think this character we got in the game honestly solidified the fact that Hoyoverse was probably really generous with giving us this character. She's really, really good for a 4-star that you get for free. And then Jing Yuan, who a lot of people say will probably be power crept at some point just because of the nature of him being an AoE damage dealer that's just lightning element. Nothing really special about his kit other than the fact that the Lightning Lord does most of his damage. And I mean, honestly, a damage dealer is kind of easy to power creep more than a support, but I still think he's going to be an amazing character going forward. Now, we understand that all of these characters essentially have a different function to the Hunt. The Erudition excels in AoE settings, the Hunt excels in single target settings. However, Jing Yuan is the exception to the rule here because he does a lot of single target damage. And then Seal will also be the exception to the rule here because she also does a lot of, quote unquote AoE damage. Now, with a character like Kafka, she will unlock a new playstyle in the game. I like to compare it to the Nilu Bloom playstyle, which we'll make in a future video. Don't worry, I'll explain it all and explain exactly why I kind of relate it to that terminology and what my brain thinks of it as a whole. I don't know why I even thought about Nilu Bloom, but the more I think about it, the more it makes sense. Anyways, Kafka unlocking a brand new playstyle that we don't otherwise already have in the game is going to be very nice. Having all of these different options allows you to play with different characters, different team comps, and that makes the gameplay much more enjoyable. Now, we do understand a character like Silverwolf is very flexible. Now, she's one of those characters I don't think is going to really set the tone for how characters should be going forward. A character that does really well as an easier character, I think, is amazing, but a character that kind of changes the identity at E6 really isn't something I want to happen with the future of the game. I don't want a character like Silverwolf to do a lot of debuffs, be a nice, very good support, and then turn into like this crazy cracked out single target damage dealer that competes with Seal and does even better than her in scenarios at maxed out. I think that's kind of I don't know what to think about that sometimes. But we do understand that the Nihility roster as a whole allows you to essentially play with characters that puts debuffs on the enemy, making the enemy a little less stronger than they would have already otherwise have been, in the form of maybe defense breaks, resistance shreds, maybe some damage over time effects to deal damage over time when that enemy takes their turn, or even just putting slows and attack decreases on the enemy to let them dish out less and less damage. Having characters like this allows you to kind of open the doors to different unique playstyles. I think Welt has one of the coolest playstyles, allowing you to be able to slow the enemy, decrease their action forward values is very nice. With him being the imaginary element, you get a lot of value with just how the imaginary element works whenever you weakness break the enemy. And I think Welt is probably going to be one of the strongest, probably maybe the strongest imaginary option for a very long time, because he synergizes very well with imaginary element as a whole. Why do I only see myself playing with Hunt characters for the near future or maybe indefinitely? I was able to use Den Heng in the Memories of Chaos Forgotten Hall, which allowed me to get a couple extra stars in that game mode that I otherwise wouldn't have already gotten. He's a very valuable character that you get in the game for free, and just what he does is very enjoyable for me, at least. I like seeing big damage numbers. That's part of the reason why I think I should just call myself a Hu Tao main in Genshin Impact. But Den Heng, being able to put all the resources from all the supports you have in your team to boost the capabilities of said character to allow the character to excel, it's just something I can't really get over. Now, I do understand it is a very risky playstyle because, as you can see, there is no healer or no shielder in the team comp. But you will in turn have a character that has no limits in the amount of damage that they can dish out. Now, I think it's kind of cool that we're moving towards a more so different kind of team comp with Hunt characters in the future, where you can have a kind of pseudo tank DPS character like Clara in the same team with your Hunt character, and then have a healer on the side, which allows you to remove the debuffs from the character that has the highest Hunt values, like Clara in this case, and heal that character. And then you have Bronya, who also cleanses debuffs, which I think is a very valuable character. That, and of course, I can't. Okay, let me just not hype up the character anymore. Toshi, try not to hype up Bronya. Challenge impossible. Anyways, having a new kind of identity to how you play the Hunt characters, I think is going to make this kind of roster of characters a lot more enjoyable to come into the future. But this is definitely one of the comps I do enjoy a lot. I just have to finish building Clara because I put all my resources into Dan Heng. Now, with a question I'm sure you all might have, well, Toshi, if you really enjoy Hunt characters, why did you not roll for Silverwolf? I say this in every video we talk about or bring up this, situation. 2 reasons and 2 reasons alone. I like new DPS characters more so than supports. I do understand that Silverwolf may end up being the best character to use with said character that is to come into the near future, or not even near future, probably far future from now. And I do get that she's going to be a very invaluable character for anyone that wants to make any type of composition in the game work. And I do understand that having her in monocomps is going to be something that we won't get with any other support character going forward. And I do understand that the 4 stars on this banner are all the 4 stars I use on my account, and they're really invaluable for any free-to-play and low-spending player. So why do I not roll on the best banner in the game? With more characters unlocking different playstyles and being able to try out different variant comps and different team comps all around is going to be something that adds to the fun factor in Honkai Star Rail. And I really look forward to the release of Kafka because she will be the best scenario or the best example for said scenario. However, I just can't help myself. I stream often on Twitch, twitch.tv/Toshio. The link will be in the description. Of course, let me know what playstyle you enjoy the most in Honkai Star Rail, with there being more playstyles to come into the future of the game. And the fact of the matter is that we already have a lot more playstyles that have opened up after the release of Silverwolf. Definitely let me know in the comment section down below. Thank you for watching. and have a nice rest of your day. Peace.